Hello everyone, welcome back again to Spiritual Growth Tarot and Astrology. I'm Denise, in case you forgot my name. So anyway, have your astrological transits we're going from Sunday, February 26th through Saturday, March 4th. I think it's the 4th. Yeah, it's the 4th. And we also have, so you know how we've had that stellium in Aries going on? Well, now Venus is going to hook up with Jupiter this week and then later on with Chiron. So that's going to be really cool. And Mercury is going to move into Pisces as well, from Aquarius to Pisces. And the moon will be moving from or through the signs of Taurus through to Leo. So it's looking like a good week, but again, very packed with a good amount of focus on individuality. So anyway, let me swap out cameras here and I'll be right back. Bring you over my table. Hold on. Okay, so the only aspect that I can see lasting all week is this Mercury in Aquarius with this nice easy flow of a trine over to Mars in Gemini. So we're talking two air signs talking together, and you know how Mars in Gemini has been knocking up a bunch of, knocking up, I don't know how to say it, moving a lot of information, and you know, we're in that InfoWars territory. We're in that truth versus lies, right? And with Mercury in Aquarius, I feel like there could be some stubbornness, even though there's a flow. And by now, we've all noticed that people have chosen a political side. Now, I'm never one to, completely give up on someone unless I notice that there's some brain damage or some issue that just doesn't budge. But you have to know somebody well enough to determine that, and they would have to be, someone in your life personally, and you love them anyway, usually, especially if they're a family member or a dear friend. But when we're talking the public, right? And with the moon today at this ripe 29 degrees of Taurus, Taurus is fixed earth, so that's not very movable, right? I mean, and at that anaretic degree, it's very, very possible that there's polarization because of this contact point here of information and taking sides, and there's going to be more and more and more news dumps. I'm just so clear of it. And next month, I think we really have to hold on to our hats. So today, let's focus in on, or for Sunday, let's focus on here focus in here on the moon in Taurus, like I was saying, just, not wanting to budge. It wants what it wants, and it's not going anywhere. It doesn't like being pushed. The public doesn't like being pushed, but the information is coming out to open the way. If they want to see the truth, if they want to get to the truth, there's always a person's personal truth and then absolute truth. And if you're a person that's, I'm sure it's none of you here, but if you're seeing people that are aligned with hatred, aligned with superiority complexes, just know that it's not the right direction, of course. I mean, you already know that. I don't need to tell you. I feel like I'm preaching to the choir here, and I never want to do that. I don't even like giving advice other than just, telling what I know about spiritual law. Spiritual law is aligned with the forces of love. And the laws are very flexible and wide, and so it can be different for one person than another as to when is right to do something and when might not be right. Sometimes people just need to go through things. It's a paradox, so I have a hard time even speaking about it in simple terms when I'm talking about a general audience of, if it's more than one person, it's hard for me to tune in and say, oh, it's definitely this. The only thing I can say for sure is that it's never good to align with bigotry or, just completely discount science. And we're talking Uranus and Taurus here. The moon's in Taurus. It has crossed over all these planets. You were with me last week, And Saturn in Aquarius Saturn at this late degree. Notice how it's 28 degrees and 55 minutes. Saturn, the taskmaster. Saturn, the planet that wants us to get our lessons. The planet that can be very challenging and create limitations and hardship even, and major restrictions. But it's also the planet that can bring in and cement something into your life because you've been following the laws of love, and you might find an opening for yourself into a big yes for yourself because you're saying no to other things that have been coming into your life at massive speeds with Mars and Gemini. And it's gonna, Mars and Gemini, it's cooking. It's not going to shift into Cancer for some time, and then the focus will be more inward. But right now it's more outward and mental, right? We have mental signs here. These are air signs. So it's communication. And with Mercury involved with Saturn, where the energy here, the consciousness and energy of these two planets together has to do with how we process information. And it might be coming in at lightning speed on the reasoning level, but we might not, in our personal lives, might not see the deeper level of what's going on. So, but then again, on a different, look at this, it can be that it's easy to objectively rise above a situation and pull yourself up and out of an emotional situation that you see on TV maybe, and go, oh goodness, and you can see a bigger picture that is maybe very helpful. So anyway, let's focus in on, so with Mercury and Saturn together, the focus there just has to do with processing information that is coming in at massive speeds and knowing when you've had enough and you need to let it go. But follow your intuition if you're drawn to something deeper. I've been, I subscribed, it's free, you just sign up for email to, wait, hold on, I have one of her articles, yeah. Joyce Vance, it's called Civil Discourse, and I'm really enjoying it. So you get the daily newsletters like you do with Heather Cox Richardson, but Heather Cox Richardson is more focused on the historical detail, and sometimes she'll pull you way back in time, and I love that usually, but then I don't always have time for it. But Joyce Vance is focused on the legal aspect of everything that's going on right now. So you guys might really enjoy her newsletter. So you just look for her online and sign up for it, and it's free, like I said. So that's one of the beautiful things here that I've noticed. A lot of these people that I've been watching on MSNBC are now on YouTube, and it's easy to get little bits, or just the little bits that you want when they're on MSNBC. You might not want to watch a whole hour just to find them, or you get distracted because you put it on mute, that kind of thing, and then they pass by and you're busy doing other things. So I love that now there's a focus, there's a boundary, there's a stabilization of information with people that you want to. So you can pick and choose, right? And you can open up to others. I mean, the cool thing about YouTube is that there's with the algorithm, if you're following, I don't know, let's say Harry Littman, if you're following any legal person on MSNBC or on their own YouTube channel, they'll populate up into your feed other legal people that people that know. You know, I mean, I myself don't really want to listen to just what a newscaster is saying, and their opinions and their questions are kind of limited. I want the legal understanding, and so that's one of the things I'm seeing here with this aspect that is really nice. And Saturn squaring the moon with that limitation around, you know, the moon representing the public and how you feel. And like I said, with that nth degree of Taurus, you're just like, you might be at that place of just like, no more, can't take it anymore. But then, so I'm offering you a different perspective as to a way to get the news that you want, but not be, you know, because otherwise we're sticking our head in the sand, right? We don't want to do that. So, and if, you know, we have to keep track of these things because we're talking Saturn in Aquarius has everything to do with those laws for humanity. You know, Saturn rules the government and Aquarius rules humanity and the people and society. So we have gone through some amazing times. And for the last, you know, 2.5 to 3 years now, we want to make sure that we keep on these government officials so that they create new laws and pass new laws, right? And that's what Saturn was all about in Aquarius. Saturn's going to move into Pisces not even next month. It's this coming month. It's March 8th, right? And it'll stay there for about 3 years, almost 3 years. It'll stay there until, I think, February 2026. So I won't talk about Saturn and Pisces right now. I'll talk about that next week. But it's going to be a very different flavor, right? We're going from fixed air, right? We're going from that type of air sign so that we have a mutable sign here to Mars, and mutable signs let things go in and out. The energy, the flow of information or whatever it is goes in and out. But the fixed Aquarius, it's like, okay, so it's gone in and out. Now we're trying to create something out of it and hold something together, right? We have the cardinal energy that expands, and then we have the contractive energy of the fixed signs, and we have the mutable signs that bring in the stasis and the integration. So we have that here with Mars and Gemini. Remember, Mars always moves energy. Just, think of like pointing, going somewhere in directional. So what do we want? Lots of times we want more information, but we're also trying to sift through information and figure out what's most important to us. So that's all week long. We're going to be doing that. On the personal level, you may find some like-minded groups, some kindred spirits to hang out with. And that's always I just love that. When you find your tribe, that's just so wonderful. But with the square from Saturn to the moon, just, only today, and it'll be out of orb pretty soon. It's been building up. So you'll get this on Friday. So you're going to be feeling the buildup of this square, this exact square here, all weekend. And then later on Sunday, it'll feel better. It'll get better. But so for now, I can never say what's right for you. Do you hold on and hold that really strong boundary, or do you finally, so it could be that, holding on, saying yes to yourself, no to something else, and you may have to, honor that, and that's a challenge, but then it creates so much more strength, right? And it could have something to do with your body, because the Taurus can definitely be the body. And then, but it's mostly Taurus just thinks safety, security, and that like foundational. If you don't have that stability of safety, it's hard to move forward. So that can be the challenge there. There could be something over the weekend that presents itself, on the news or online, you're noticing there could be, walks and protests, things like that. That's very possible. Yeah. I mean, more and more news dumps, right? I mean, who would have thought that? And I don't even know her name, but that gal that came out from the jury, the special grand jury that Georgia had, grand jury trial that Georgia had, and she's talking about it, And at first I was like, oh no, should she be doing that? But then after listening to several people, it doesn't look like there would be any problems because she didn't say anything. But man, if you watch her face and her eyes, she's saying something. But because she didn't actually say it, maybe it's, the worst thing that could happen is it could cause a mistrial. But I don't know. It may have. Who knows what Fani Willis is going through with that. And I learned, too, that and I think I'm so grateful for someone who emailed me, and I can't remember, oh my goodness, I can't remember the name, but I thought Fani Willis was a Gemini. It turns out she's a Scorpio. I love that. So, okay, so that's the backdrop. It could be more, so just remember always Mercury can be the news, the moon can be the public. With Saturn squaring the moon, this can be some news dumps about governmental officials that we're like, oh man, okay. That at that anaretic degree of Taurus, it's like, well, we see what you've done, right? Because Taurus is like, all the earth signs are like things that are in place, right? Something's been done. Okay, so let's see, what else let's look at this nice trine with the sun. It's a waning trine. You can see the sun here is at 7 degrees. The south node's at 5. But there's a connection to the past there. Here's another clue to the possible news dumps over the weekend, right? And so the trine there brings a flow of information into who did what in the past. And the sextile over to the north node could change the trajectory of what happens in the future. And that is especially true because the sun will put a spotlight on something. And in Pisces, it's going to be big, it's going to be out there, it's going to be, it can encompass so many things. There might be an opportunity that comes through for some type of immigration reform in some way, because sometimes, well, not sometimes, Pisces does rule immigration, and you can see Neptune is still, will be there for some time. Yeah. In fact, it's not even, Neptune's not even out of that retrogradation shade until later on in March. So, yeah, it's likely that they're working hard on that. Okay, so the other aspect that's important is you can see Pluto here, 29 degrees, and that exact trine to the moon in Taurus at 29 degrees. So there you go again. There's, the shadowy underworld. Underworld, is that the right? Yeah, it's underworld. The secrets. The secrets can't be hid anymore. There's no way that the secrets can be hid anymore. And it's not anything that was never there. Like Rudy Giuliani was doing his dirty deeds cheap for years and years and years and years. And now finally that Pluto has crossed over his south node, everything bubbles up. It's like his karmic past is up for everyone to see. So he's a perfect example. And this may very well be something that comes through here. I know he's already been subpoenaed by Jack Smith, and Jack Smith is also subpoenaed Vajanky, I call them, but it's, Ivanka and Jared. And we can see he's working his way up the food chain. So maybe there'll be an announcement, Monday morning, or, well, shoot, it could happen on Friday, right? Because this is Sunday and this is the buildup. And with the moon in the exact, trine here, that flow, something could happen, because the earth signs tend to be things that manifest, right? Okay, so let's see, what else? The other important thing with, now you can see, of course, and this I think, oh yeah, that's right. This is the other thing that's, I'm pretty sure it lasts all week. Hold on, let me sneak ahead. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. For sure. For sure, man. There's a lot happening here with that south node. So Saturn is also trining the south node all week. So again, remember, Saturn is karma, and it's bringing up the past. So again, it's great for us if we want to bring up the wisdom of the past, transform the past, working from your higher self with the sun in Pisces, and especially with the trine to the south node. And Neptune's here holding space, for all that spiritual work that you've been doing. And man, I've had the best time with some of my clients this week in noticing how far they've come. The breakthroughs are just, I love it. I love the breakthroughs. When someone gets in touch with that deepest lie that they've been holding in their soul, that, whatever they came in with, what caused the incarnation, caused them to choose the parents to be, because, we have a lie that we go to our death with in our past lifetime. And whatever that lie was, it's your moment of death, and you're like, you're either regretting something, or you're confused and you don't know what happened, and then you take it the wrong way towards yourself and towards life. And then whatever that is sets up the next lifetime, right? So when you get in touch with whatever that lie is, I call it a soul split. And I say that because it's where there's a separation in the soul from the spirit. I don't believe that the spirit and the soul are one. Although when you do enough work here on the planet, in your body, your soul can be very amorphous, I guess is the word. I'm not sure. You can get under the veil. You can be so connected to your spirit that you go in that direction. Just like if, when you get to the place where your ego is really healthy, it merges with your real self and your higher self. And so the soul can do that as well, but most people don't do that because they're projecting their own issues onto other people and life. So when we stop doing that, oh my goodness, you can just, the shifts in life can be amazing. So I'm noticing that there's a lot of that happening, at least with my clients, and I hope it's happening everywhere. I'm sure it is. There's no way I'm unique in that at all. Okay, so of course that Mercury sextile Aries is there for a very long time, because you can see how Mercury's at 22 degrees, and, well, not for a very long time, because Mercury moves pretty quickly, but I'm sure that this aspect is there all week too, and I'm not going to bother to color it in, other than I'll just mark Aries here, and remember to make that note that she's that, she's like the Pluto counterpart, but on the feminine, when it comes to courage. And in Aries, my goodness, it takes her 566, I think, 56 or 66, I forget, years to get around the zodiac, where Pluto takes about between 243 and 248. It's an elliptical orbit with Pluto. But it's the planet of, how many souls come in during a different sign. It's very generational. And it goes way deeper and much, much more evolved. It's more of an evolved way to look at it, rather than, when people talk about Gen Z, Gen X, Gen whatever, baby boomers, they're just being silly. You need to look at the signs, Pluto, like where's your Pluto? Our parents were, it was in Cancer. We're probably the Pluto and Leo generation, but we also have many Pluto and Virgo and Libra and Scorpio and Sag and the Capricorn kids too, right? And we have no Pluto in Aries and no Pluto in Taurus on the planet, and I don't know if there's any Pluto in Geminis. I mean, I don't think so. So that's an interesting thing to think about. Okay, so let's move on. Let's see, what else is important for today? So Mercury is, with that opportunity there, just to say, this overview for all week would be thinking and processing information in new ways. As long as you can tap into your courage and you go for what's right for you, and wish everyone else, all the best because you never want to. I mean, it's not a good thing to want something for yourself that you don't want for other people, and that's one of the things that we have to be careful with Aries energy, because it goes fast. And that's the other thing too with this stellium in Aries here. Now let's move forward to that because it's really important. And I think I'll use pink just to emphasize the active, force there. It could be red, but I don't want to bleed into the paper. But just think of Mars rules Aries, so we're talking movement, and we have to add in the fact that Jupiter expands, and Venus really wants to get there and be done. And this is on a level of patience, and maybe people have lost patience with especially the last few days, with how fast things are going. I know I get comments all the time on my political videos where, oh my goodness, can this just be done? I want this done. Or the other ones where don't. This is, they're thinking I'm silly just even looking for justice because they don't think things will ever change, and that Trump is always going to get away with everything. So I can totally understand where they're coming from. I'm not going to, judge anybody for their point of view, but I can understand why we've been antsy and why we've been wanting it done, and where the lack of patience comes in, because that is one of the downsides of all the Aries energy, because Aries wants it to happen, right? It wants things to get moving, but it is. It is. And just remember, all the planets are direct until April 21st. So we can expect things to really heat up in March and April as well. And it might be that when Venus connects up to Uranus, that we have something that we really like, coming through, because there can be some unification. Venus, remember, unifies. And once it gets into Taurus, it can be a unification of more safety with Taurus, something grounded in safety, hopefully. Jupiter is going to stay in Aries, all year. I'll get some exact dates later. I don't have them right now, but so it's going to be an expansion of hopefully creating win-win situations while you blaze your own trail and daringly move forward, right? And because we're right there, look at how we have this conjunction of Jupiter and Chiron. When Jupiter's joined up with Chiron, there's an expansion into the ability to heal. Now, for some people, it might bring up that awareness of the deeper wound, but that's how we heal it. We can't heal something that we're not willing to feel, and we can't heal something that we've been denying. So there's no denying when Jupiter comes in. That's the thing. Venus has this little, you notice this little semi-square here to Saturn? That puppy there, now it's not a really strong aspect like the square, but it's enough. It requires action. So if you want something, because Venus is always like the planet of want, but so is Mars. Mars is motivation, but Mars moves forward from what you want. Venus helps you get in touch with what you want. And this is another place where, because here we have, this is, from 7 degrees to 13 degrees. Should have just done this, but the exact semi-square is only from Jupiter to, I'm sorry, Venus to Saturn, right here. But it's moving quickly towards, Saturn's going to sit there for quite some time, and Venus is going to quickly move right up against Jupiter and even be a little further over. So this energy here of Venus and Jupiter with Saturn is, it's really important to get in touch with what you want, to go for what you want, but also to work with healing any abandonment issues. Get back to that place where you belong to yourself, and you're going to be just fine. So that's on the table. Chiron is also in that semi-square over here to Saturn. So that reinforces that even more, but then it's also in the semi-square over here to the moon, but only for the day, or actually the morning probably. So again, action to get in touch with what you really want. I always say to myself, if I'm getting angry, and I know it's not healthy anger, that sets a boundary, or because I don't have those kind of relationships anymore, but it doesn't mean it couldn't happen in the future, but I just haven't had that in so long. Or if I'm getting into, I haven't had anxiety either, but it's normal. Just know this, it's really normal to get angry, to have anxiety, to feel resentment, to feel frustration. I get frustrated. I still get frustrated. But what I do is I've trained myself enough to go, okay, what's this feeling really about? Like, what do I really want? And then I can work with it in myself rather than, projecting it onto anything else. So that's what we have here. This is that opportunity, and especially for today with the moon there. What do you really want? What's behind the feeling, right? And then once you figure that out, it's great. Okay, so I'm going to move forward, and so for Monday, let's see, all the aspects that I spoke about before are the same. You can see the moon's, look how far it moved in just one day, right? Like about 12 degrees, something like that, 11, yeah. 12, yeah. So anyway, the sun, we still have the sun trining the south node, wait, was the sun there yesterday too? Yeah, it was, that's right. 875, that's right, because it has to get more out of orb. Okay, so everything's the same between Saturn, Mercury, and the south node, talking to the past, bringing up the wisdom, news dumps on the dirty politicians, probably the hammer coming down for some of them. we can expect this week, and like I said, all next month. The sun is squaring the moon today. Now that is important. Okay, so 8 degrees there, over to 11 degrees, and the moon's clocking its way towards Mars. So, woo, that's intense. And Neptune is also square. Is Neptune? Yeah, I think it's just the moon. I don't think it's squaring Neptune. Well, maybe it is. Has Mars moved? Yeah. Okay, wow. So this is it. Okay, hold on. We got to talk about this. All right. I run these charts and get them ready, and then I need to look at them more before I start talking, I guess. I'm just kind of flying by the seat of my pants here. So anyway, the Sun square Mars and the Moon, let's just bring it all together. This is the spotlight into what's happened. So remember Pisces, and Pisces is ruled by Neptune. And we're talking, it's great for art, it's great for devotion, it's great for healing addictions, but then again, there could be a challenge there. But hey, we have rehab nowadays. People can go to rehab as many times as they need to, and that's normal. Now, another part of this aspect here could be a little bit of emotional spin. Like if a person gets stuck in emotional reaction, it might be good to get in some water, go for a walk, do anything you can to get out of your head, because you're not likely to heal emotionally by thinking about it. You have to feel it and bring it through and take notes. You can do that, but then get up and move it through you, or get in the shower, the tub, or hot tub, or whatever you have, and let it go. Let it go, and you'll figure out where it came from later. And you might figure that out while you're, moving around, getting out of your head. But you have to get into your simple truth, whatever the simple truth is for you. It can't be too complicated, or you don't want to. It's overthinking is what I'm concerned about here. So that's an issue, possibly. But on another level, it could be good because the moon rules the public. It could be another big news dump in the spotlight there on someone who's been trying to victimize others. Someone, because it's connected to the past there. Someone who has been grifting on others, right? Gee, who could that be? But Neptune is also there, squaring Mars. And because Mars has now moved enough to where we have a 6-degree separation there, and the moon's moving closer and closer. So all day long, I think that lies are going to be coming out, and people are going to be going, what? This might be, it's possible. It's very, very possible that not only Tucker Carlson, but all of Fox News uses that footage that, so basically, if you guys haven't heard on the news, I'm sure you have, but if you haven't, the short story is that Kevin McCarthy gave 44,000 hours, gave access to Tucker Carlson, 44,000 hours of video footage that was that came from the January 6th committee. So you can imagine that there could be some secret, nobody needs to see how to get in and out of certain people's offices and the hallways and all of that. Those things should be protected. But, so maybe that's a new rule. Like maybe Washington shouldn't have such an open, door to the public, especially when the what are they called? The magnometers, the metal detectors are gone to get into the house. You don't need to go through a metal detector to get into the house anymore. Like, great. Okay. So that's concerning there. It could be Fox News, and not only just Tucker Carlson, but Fox News does something with that. But like I said, personally, stay out of your head. Be okay with the information that comes out, but be careful not to get, bamboozled with Neptune square Mars. If you're spiritually, if you're intuitive enough, your BS meter will go off, and you'll realize that something's going on. So I'm not worried about you guys with that. Now, notice this triple. There's 3 sextiles here, right? And they're here. So Venus, Jupiter, and Chiron have the aspect of opportunity with the sextile. That's an awful lot of Aries energy moving something forward out into the news. This is to the moon, this right here. But then remember, the moon's going this way, so this isn't going to stop. It's going to encompass Mars as well. And like I said, Mercury is still sextile. Trine Mars. That's the same. 24 to. No, wait. What is this? Oh, to the Sun. Oh, this is cool. Okay, so the Sun has a sextile here to the North Node. Yeah. Right. 8, 5. Okay, I think I missed that last time. So the Sun. This would be for all week. I should have had it. I don't think I said it for yesterday. But if I didn't, sorry if I'm repeating. But anyway, what this is, so again with the Sun, like a spotlight into the bigger picture with Pisces. And it leads us, it's an opportunity to see the way forward with the North Node. The North Node is always the opening, the direction. South Node's the past, North Node's the future. But, we're always wanting to balance both. And the North Node has this semi-square here to the moon. So again, yeah, I think there's directional focus, and now we have, there's action that will be needed. I really feel like even more news dumps than we had last week, or actually this week that we're still in, the tail end of it. Let's see, Mercury sextile the North, wait, is that? No, that's Mercury, that's sextile to Aries, that's the same. Okay, the sesquisquares, I'm not going to bother to color them in, but they just have to do with, when we have a sesquisquare, it can be stubborn energy. So I think, basically, the dirty politicians will be stubbornly holding on to their lies and their deceit, and they're going to create even more crisis for themselves. So have fun with that, you guys, right? We'll see how that works out for you in the long run. It could... It could take a really long time, and we're seeing that, the fruition of what has been going on, like the last, who knows how many, I want to say 30 years with the Saturn transit, but it's way more than that. Like, just think of Rudy Giuliani and his entire life. Too bad he never hired an astrologer. My goodness. Okay, so now for Tuesday morning, you can see that the moon has crossed over Mars, and so tons and tons and tons of energy here of information. So informative energy, and we are processing it through is what's going on with this double trine from Mercury and Saturn. So this is quite a bit of energy here. This is amazing. So again, I feel, more political news dumps. Look how Saturn is clocking forward. Mercury's really getting tight in there. So news, government issues. For us, though, for you guys personally, this can be the ability to create something in your life where you have more freedom and you're thinking along those terms of, the future, the big picture. And now there's the emotional energy and the motivation aligned to get that going. And maybe it has to do with a commitment to meditation because, of the trine here to the South Node, and Saturn has to do with commitment, right? To get in touch with the past and bring your spirit through and it's always a good thing, right? Yeah. It's actually, I think, a real need to meditate, or to at least have inward focus for a certain amount of time every day. Okay, so now you guys are probably noticing, so the sextile from Mercury to Aries, of course, we're having for all week. But now we have a trine to the moon as well, or I'm sorry, sextile to the moon. So there's courage coming in. There's, yeah. Yeah, with Aries, it's like, oh, we're not having that anymore. And you can see the double square still, right? So remember I was telling you that it was building? Now it's just about at that nth degree with, well, 23, 39, and 24, 32, just one more degree, and that will happen very shortly, today. So this morning is perfect for meditation and getting some guidance in meditation. It might be hard to sit still, but boy, if you do it, I promise something will come through. And if it's hard at first, just remember that you're meditating to meditate at first. You're sitting just to learn how to meditate with yourself, right? And getting the grounding techniques in your body, letting go and following your breath. And this aspect here could bring in some automatic writing. It's a wonderful day or a wonderful morning, I would say, for automatic writing. It's also a really good aspect for bringing in the information from dream time. Let's see, and we still have, yeah, that's to Mars now. Okay, so this is going to be here for a little bit. So the North Node in Taurus, so that directional focus to create stability, is combined with Mars and that motivation to really have that stability. And then we have the sesquisquare up to the South Node, so stubbornly hold on to your wisdom as to whatever you want to bring in. Let's see, the other little semi-squares back here so we have from Mercury and Jupiter up to, Venus and Jupiter up to Mercury and Saturn. Yeah, look how tight look how quickly Venus is moving together. So action is needed to go the direction you want to go. And it might be that there's a group focus that helps you, and you guys all have a situation, a project that you're working on, and now there's a whole lot of movement quickly. And Aries is often 2 steps forward and 1 step back. The only caution I would have with this stellium here is just to be careful about hurting yourself physically if you're rushing around trying to get so much done. Because goodness, there's so much to do, and I have so many of you that I just constantly sending out prayers of support and love and strength for, because I know that you're taking care of a loved one who has Alzheimer's or who has cancer, or you're babysitting grandchildren and taking care of your own lives at the same time, or you have massive projects that are on your shoulders. So, yeah, if we can just get that little bit of meditation in the morning, or stay in bed when you wake up and don't look at your phone. Don't be like me and look at the comments and things like that. Because I tend to do my meditation later, but maybe for you it would be to stay in bed and curl up for just an extra 5 or 10 minutes, and filter and integrate the Dreamtime filter that's come through. So the sun also has that semi-square. I don't know if I have room to draw it in, but just I can see that the sun has the semi-square to Eris today. So there's a spotlight as to, I just heard, do what you need to do. more than what you want to do. There's something about attending to the things that you need to attend to. And maybe it is just standing up for but maybe it is standing up for yourself, having the courage to stand up for yourself. That's very possible. Okay, so Wednesday, what is different Wednesday? The moon's in Cancer, so now we're really cooking on that inward focus. 5 degrees, 10 degrees, so all morning long there's a spotlight on the family, spotlight on what matters, a spotlight on security, and also up to the past. So we have a grand water trine here, exact there from the moon, right? See how we have the sun, because all week long we have that sun to the south node, or almost all week, I think, yeah. And then we have 2 grand trines. Right there, look at that. So, yeah, that's because the early degree, a late degree and an early degree. Okay, so one's a grand water trine, but the other one is just because we're in that late degree of Aquarius of Saturn, and it's just about ready to move into, but it won't until next week, move into Pisces. But the moon is picking it up. So this is an opening here with the moon to focus on your emotional security, protecting yourself, focusing on the past and your roots, and maybe working within dependent and codependent, issues in relationship. There could be some opening there that helps you release the past and be much more independent for yourself, because Cancer is cardinal water, so it's water that moves. Scorpio is fixed water, so it can get stagnant within the emotions, but because we have the flow with the moon to the south node in Scorpio, the Cancer to Scorpio energy there, something can move that was stagnant and no longer is, especially because the spotlight here with the Pisces sun is moving as well. And Pisces is mutable, so we're integrating and bringing in more security, and it's also a very psychic aspect here with this water trine. So this is a great morning for meditation and a great morning for processing dreams, and especially with the connection here too with Mercury and Saturn in Aquarius. They're only less than 2 degrees apart now. Again, those messages, because remember, Mercury's going to represent how you're processing information, but it's also the messenger. And it can help you negotiate something, and it could be, something that's very solid and stable. It could help you link up and find a pattern that creates freedom with Aquarius there. And it's good for, translating information. It's good for so many things. I can't say exactly what it'll be for you, but it's going to be an excellent, it has been and will be even more. It's an excellent aspect for writers of any type of communication, any type of self-expression. Mercury also rules the siblings too, so that might be helpful. Okay, so what else? I see a sextile here from the North Node to the Moon. So again, and then we have the aspect of the architect with the Moon down here at the tipping point, right? That's cool. So the aspect of the architect builds. So what are you working on building? And you gather all that from the past, and go towards what you want. And maybe there's some emotional courage, or maybe you've tuned into a place where you're feeling kind of insecure. But with all this Aries energy, with Venus, Jupiter, and Chiron, that's holding space for the courage to come through. And we do have a square, to the moon from an exact square. Look at that, 11-11, right there. 11-11 with Venus and Jupiter. Maybe it's a day to go buy lotto tickets. And with the moon in Cancer, you could bring it home. Maybe there's some bringing home the bacon or whatever. If you're vegan, no, not bacon, something else. Bringing home the bunny food. We love bunnies. Okay, now there are so many semi-squares here up to Saturn and Mercury. I'll just say this is really important to act on whatever it is that you're trying to manifest, whatever you're wanting to bring in. Because don't forget that one of the really important things here is that Pluto's been holding space at that nth degree of Capricorn for you to be in your authority. Be in your integrity. If you're in your inner being and in your authority, you are in integrity. You're definitely in your integrity. And the only little tricky thing here is, well, there's still Neptune square Mars. Whoops, wrong color. Be careful with anybody that might be trying to pull the wool over your eyes. If somebody's coming at you and they're saying things like, well, you have to do it now or otherwise the deal's off. Yeah, nice try. That's a very psychopathic, narcissistic sales tactic. Don't ever fall for that one. You hear somebody say that, you go, okay, see ya. We're done. And especially with the North Node, with that semi-square to Mars, too. Because again, Mars in Gemini is probably one of the most salesman-type oriented signs. They want something and they want to tell you how you got to have it, right? So with Neptune squaring, it had squared the moon, but now it's really squaring Mars. We have to be extra careful. This can be possibly, there's a couple of ways it can work out, or more. But the two strong things I'm tuned into now is this can be like ignorance in action, or it can be, and we might see that on the political stage, right? Or it can be a strengthening through challenges, but a strengthening nevertheless, as to understanding what you need to do and how you need to think and how you need to communicate in order to come straight from source energy, straight from your higher self and your spirit. So, yeah, and then Mars is still in that sesquisquare to the South Node. So, maybe it's about holding on to what you really want and not worrying about what anybody thinks anymore, right? Okay, so are we still on Wednesday? Yeah, we're still on Wednesday. We're definitely Wednesday here, but I wanted to make sure where I was. So 9:22 at night is when Venus exactly conjuncts Jupiter at 12 degrees and 8 minutes. Isn't that beautiful? 12 is one of my favorite numbers. Yeah. So anyway, I'm not going to go into all the other, the only thing I'm going to touch in on is the aspect here, the triple square to the moon. And this has been building because the moon's at, so all day this has been building, and at night we have that fever pitch of cardinal energy with both Aries and, so Aries, Cancer, and Libra, and Capricorn are the 4 cardinal signs. And they open up the seasons, right? You guys have heard me say that before. And you can see here on, because I have the charts always set at the 0 degrees Aries and natural zodiac. And so we have spring, summer, fall, and winter. So we're feeling more springy than ever. And we know that the spring's coming, in about another 19 days or so. And we could be feeling the future and knowing which way to go, even though we're not there yet, but we're working. See, because squares are always like a tension field where we're in it and we're working through it. And then when we get through it, the squares turn into strengths, something that is built. Think of like the 4 pillars, right? So there would be 2 pillars here. If we had all 4, we would have a square, and there would be a foundation, right? So else, let's see, the sun here at 11 degrees Pisces trines the moon. So that's a nice balance there of water energy, very fluid and creative energy. This could be a really, really, really good week for any creative project. And we can see with the Mercury and Saturn still trining the South Node, pulling in more and more information from the past that either on the political level really busts some things open. And it's like, it's just blatantly obvious. Things happen. But with the sun trining the South Node as well, there's a spotlight on something from the past, and I really feel like it's the news dumps. The news dumps and maybe some actual, subpoenas, indictments unsealed, previously sealed, and now they're unsealed. And we've been expecting it. But just remember, an indictment is only an accusation. There will still need to be grand jury trials. Although when it comes to those stolen documents that were taken to Mar-a-Lago, I don't understand for the life of me why that couldn't be like just straight up treason, imprisonment right away. But, I'm not a legal scholar or constitutional professor or anything like that, so I'm not going to talk about it. You can see Mercury still square, all of that. But this was just to pick up this exact Venus conjunct Jupiter. And remember, again, Venus will bring something together. It will make your values deeply understood, and in Aries, you know which way to go. It will bring some kind of pleasure and gratification. It will help you. It's like mixing, Venus is like mixing the energy of Taurus and Libra together, and then with Aries. So for relationships, and Venus rules relationships and money, self-worth, everything that you value. So there's new paths, new frontiers to forge with Jupiter there in a very expansive and healing way. Because Jupiter's going to open things up. It's going to help you invest into anything that you believe in. And so this could be more ways to learn about new things, or the inspiration to because Jupiter is very inspirational. You could have some new inspirations as to which way to go. But with the moon square, it might be that, but am I safe enough? Or can I do that? Just kind of talk yourself through it, feel the fear and do it anyway. And then you'll notice also that we have, 13 degrees to 15 degrees here, and the moon's moving towards that 15-degree exact sextile to Uranus. We're talking breaking free and bringing in something that you really, really want. With Taurus, it's like something you want to have, and you have to have faith in yourself and meditate on already having it. You never want to pray in the sense of, please give it to me. That's like saying you don't already have it. You have to have it inside of you. You have to show up and be the universe and let the universe flow through you, right? You have to have it within. So, and then also we have this double sesquisquare here to the moon. So it could be that, there's just some holding on for the evening. And I don't know. I don't think, excuse me, many people do night shifts anyway. So maybe it's holding on to what you really want, what you want to manifest and bring in, and taking that into your dream time and asking for, or not asking, saying thank you for helping me with it, to your guides and guardian angels. And thank you for bringing information into my dream time. Or thank you for healing my body while I sleep tonight. I do that every night because I'm usually sore from doing stuff around the house or walking or whatever. But anyway, that's it for. You can see they have the sun square, but that's happening already. I'm going to go ahead and go on to Thursday. That's it for that exact conjunction. There could be something that comes up to fruition politically, I'm thinking, on Wednesday. And Thursday night we go, Okay, things that make you go, right? Remember that song? Okay, so for Thursday, I clocked it at 8 p.m. because nothing was happening that much in the morning. Nothing had changed, because this, everything that I told you before for the 9 p.m. Wednesday also applied for the early morning on Thursday. So remember that. And then by Thursday night, 8 p.m., I clocked this here because we have some exact transits. From the moon to Pluto, there's a confrontation, there could be a conflict, and there also could be a breakthrough. And it could have to do with whatever you want to, well, actually, I feel that the moon and Pluto are both very psychic signs, but the moon in Cancer is pretty psychic, as well as if it were in Cancer or Pisces. So, but the difference with Cancer is that there's more of a bodily feeling, but then again, in Pisces, is very sensitive too. And I can't say that, Cancer has the corner on sensitivity with any of these water signs, but there's an opening here because there's movement. It's something that'll get you going in the direction to help empower yourself even more with this situation here. Let me turn my fan off. I'm actually getting kind of chilly. So let's see. Yeah, so just focus on whatever it is that you're sensing with Cancer energy. It's very sensitive as to if you're having confrontations with someone else who's trying to control you. You're probably going to rebel, and rightfully so. But with Cancer, again, it could be a parental issue or a family issue, and it could involve something from the past, and you might not want to let go, but there's some confrontation on the other side of it. And I don't know what it is, for you, of course, but you just stay in your power as you work through it, and you'll have a breakthrough. There will be a breakthrough. Okay, and then so, of course, Neptune is still squaring Mars. Be careful with anybody trying to pull the wool over your eyes. The moon is in exact square to Aries, so I think that the courage is right there for you to move into your power with that opposition to Pluto, and then coming from, I think there's going to be a lot of like mama bear kind of moments, or I don't, what do we call it if it's a daddy? I don't know. Daddy lion? I don't know. It could be mama lion too. But anyway, I love this beautiful trine up here. So we have the trine to Neptune. So there's that connection to source energy and the sensitivity that is needed to stay in your power and work through something. And then all this spotlight energy connecting with the past. And then notice how Mercury is now in Pisces. I didn't get the exact time because it's like, it doesn't really matter. But sometime, during the day earlier, we had the exact Mercury moving into Pisces. So now things will change. We are going to start thinking way, way, way out there. I mean, like not crazy, ungroundedly out there, but the best way I can describe it is think of, let's say, Rachel Maddow. She's probably one of the best persons that I could tap into for a moment to display what Mercury in Pisces. She has Mercury in Pisces. And you'll notice how, and this is probably a perfect example, you notice how she goes back into the past, often back into history to make a point, and then she also brings it full circle into something that's happening now. Like she has that Ultra podcast, and she's noticed how the Nazis in the USA, that's another NPR show that's been on. I still have that in my DVR. I haven't gotten all the way through it, but how the past is repeating itself, because obviously a lot of people still haven't gotten the memo. So there are the lessons that are needing to be learned from the past. And Mercury's now going to bring things much more full circle, right? So just think of like the way, sometimes with Rachel Maddow it's frustrating because I'm like, you said that already. She often says something 3 or 4 times before she finishes up her point. But that's the way she thinks broadly, right? And that's the energy of Mercury in Pisces. Like bringing things out there, way out there, to where you can maybe transcend the dualistic limitations of Earth, and it helps you get out of. It helps. On one level, it can help us like escape this finite position of what we thought was, and it opens us up to all different possibilities. But on another level too, Mercury in Pisces, Neptune in Pisces, anything in Pisces, and of course, the Sun will connect with Neptune at some point, and Mercury will be right there close by too, and Saturn will be in Pisces. When Saturn conjuncts Neptune, makes me wonder about cults and some hard lessons for cult-type members, right? Yeah. Because Pisces can be, and Neptune can be, cultish types of attitudes. It can be people that want to escape, people that want to avoid the truth, and they just want to hold on. And then it can also have to do with addictions. So we have to be careful. It can also have to do with chaos. But on the other side of that, we have all the beautiful things with Neptune has to do with spirituality and creativity that comes through these realms that we couldn't imagine, that it's like sometimes when I work with clients, it's like, okay, those aren't my words, but I have to say it, and I can't take credit for it, but it's just something that there's no way I would get that with my own brain, because my brain is very limited. But it's that being able to open up to something bigger than yourself. And there could be more longing towards opening up to that bigger, part of ourselves, more longing to connect with our higher selves, and a lot more communication with our higher selves, moving forward with Mercury and Neptune together. So that Sun is still in the trine to the South Node, like it has been all week. And now we have, you probably noticed, I don't know if you guys can see this here, but there's an aspect of the architect from the past. But it's connected to Uranus. So the sun is bringing a spotlight into some bigger, grander vision in Pisces, but that also brings together something from the past, and then there could be something shocking but it won't be shocking to us probably. But the details come out is what I'm getting, because Mercury's there in Pisces, the sun's there in Pisces, and then, because Uranus can wake people up. It can reverse someone's fortune, especially in Taurus, right? It can bring in some flash of, the aha moments where you have some new insight. So that's a very real possibility all day Thursday, and it comes to fruition, by Thursday night. Everybody knows about it. And again, that square, Neptune square Mars is still there. So who's lying? Who's telling the truth? Well, the information's coming out. I think it might have something to do with grifting. And the sun has, let's see if that's there Friday morning, because it's too late at night to probably get anything done with it. Yeah, let's go ahead and move forward into Friday. So the sun in this semi-square here to Pluto, action is needed to come full circle. Of course, we still have the double trine to the south node, right? Mercury and Saturn are still together, even though Mercury's got has taken on a very new flavor in Pisces. This could be really, really good for art and for anything that you're devoted to. It could be good for immigration too, because of course it's connected to the past. And sometimes Scorpio has to do with crises from the past. Is that the right way to say that word? Any crisis from the past, there could be a break, an opening to bring things through. Now, there's also, so the moon's here at 29 degrees Cancer this morning, Friday the 29th. Or I'm sorry, what am I saying? March 3rd, Friday the 3rd. I'm looking at the 29 degrees Cancer. We have 2 quincunxes. So, and of course, they point to the moon, but they're coming from Mercury and Saturn. So the moon is here activating the heights of what we want for feeling safe and secure, and what we want for honoring all that is sacred, and for protecting the future, protecting the family, protecting all that matters. And it's also, psychic abilities here, but there's an adjustment needed because there are things going on in the outer world with the news and politically and with the government that we're having to emotionally adjust to. And we might not like it because there's a square to the south node. Now, this might not be us. It might just be some other people, like Trump supporters. They might not like what's coming out. There might be emotional reaction to like a fever pitch because it's coming from the past. And then it's also pointing towards the future. So the moon's in this T-square here. And it's also connecting to, so it's the North Node in Aries. Hold on, right here. Here's what the double T-square is coming from this side. So again, the courage to bring things forward. Aries is like the goddess of discord, right? She'll stand up and fight for things that aren't going to create stability. And the North Node in Taurus is wanting stability and safety, security. Taurus and Scorpio definitely want safety. Or I'm sorry, Taurus and Cancer definitely want safety. And Scorpio is wanting transformation so that we have that safety. And then the moon is also, while it's in that T-square at that apex point of the past and the future and the courage needed, we also have the trine, of course, to Neptune. Again, so that grander vision that we want to hold on to. This is wonderful. And this was building up all last night. The square to Mars is still there. Sesquisquare is still there. The opposition to Pluto is there, right? So, man, look at that. I mean, wow. Again, I think there's some major shizzle's going to happen. Shizzle's going to be splattering. Turn off the fan. Yeah, and then the sesquisquares. I'm not going to talk about that. We'll be here forever. Okay, Friday. So that was Thursday. No, that was Friday morning, 6 a.m. Oh, yeah, same day. Okay. Venus is exactly conjunct Chiron. Okay, so I guess I just wanted to peg that little thing right there. Everything else is the same. The moon's still in that T-square. Yeah, and it will be too, because 5 degrees here, only 1 degree there. Okay, so yeah, everything is still the same except for, this is the only thing that's really important to focus in on, is Venus exactly on the other side of Chiron. So that unification, that unity and harmony as to your particular, your unique personal path and blazing your own trail, that is at the fever pitch of like, yeah, let's go. Because when you work through your deepest wounding, which is what Chiron represents, your gifts are underneath. And now with the semi-square, 3 semi-squares here up to Saturn, the taskmaster is saying, it's time to do it, time to act, gotta do it. What do you really want? What are you willing to do to get what you want? Yeah, so that's that. Okay, let's move forward. And then Saturday, so our last chart for the week is March 4th, Saturday. The moon's at 11 degrees Leo. Lovely Leo, very creative, self-expressive. Well, all the signs are creative, but by the time we get to Leo, it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna talk about it. Okay, I gotta put it out there, right? So this week is really supportive for, so we have a double square there, but it's really supportive for putting yourself out there and breaking free. I love that. Okay, and then we also have a square from the south node to Pluto. So that's going to be in effect even next week. Wow. Okay. Yeah, because Pluto's moved just a little bit forward. Okay. And the south node has moved a little tiny bit back. All right, so, jeez. Again, here we go. So here's another T-square here. So just think of, at the apex, and it all points to the past. So what did the dirty politicians do in the past, and what are we going to do about it now? With the moon in Leo, well, the moon definitely wants to attach to something. It's connecting the dots. It's digesting what has happened. It's intuitive. It's responsive. And it wants to nurture something, but what does it want to nurture? Well, you have to go to the sign it's in. Okay, so it's in Leo, so this is expressing something. And Leo's all about courage. Aries moves, but then Leo has the courage. So Aries can be 1 step forward, 2 steps back, but by the time, so thinking it with the moon, if the moon were in Aries, it can be 1 step forward, 2 steps back, but by the time it moves into Leo, it's like, oh, now I know what I want, and I'm going there, that direction, there, right there. But it's connected to the North Node and Uranus, which is the direction we're all going, and Uranus in Taurus is breaking free to bring in more security and safety, especially, financial situations. And we're not liking, we're probably talking a lot about how we're not liking the grifting that's going on. And people in positions of, in government that are using the government just to facilitate themselves and not for the people. They shouldn't be there. That should not happen. Right? So there's probably a lot of talk about that. And with the sun and the moon, with this quincunx between them, we're seeing the bigger picture, and adjustments are needed. Adjustments are needed. So this weekend, I'm feeling like there's challenges, but maybe some integration as well. And that we do have, like for us personally, I'm really tuned in here to Jupiter, Chiron, and Venus, and this triple trine to the moon. This might be the Sunday that something really gets done because you're able to say what you need to say, do what you need to do, in order to go more boldly towards that, whatever it is that you're trying to bring in. And then that's especially supported by the double trine to the south node. So again, the wisdom that you have connecting to the past, your ability to transform anything that happened in the past and bring it forward into a whole new direction. With Mercury and Pisces, bring something full circle, and Saturn's getting ready to pop in there and help out too. We'll have that next week. And then we also have the aspect of the architect to the north node of the future. Yay! So thinking in terms of the big picture, the long haul, and whatever it is that you want to do. And of course, Mercury still has that sextile here to. Oh no! Wait, hold on. Mercury. Let's see. 2 degrees, 15. No, it's the Sun. The Sun has the sextile to Uranus. Okay, so that probably will give a lot more energy to help you focus and be even more free. Boy, I should have turned my heater up. I am cold. Mercury, the Sun in Pisces here, with the sextile over to Uranus, that could be a nice breakthrough. A very nice breakthrough where something is manifested from a grander, broader vision are the words I just heard with that. Now the Sun is also squaring Mars. See, these two kind of cancel each other out, darn it. Well, it depends. With Mars, well, okay. So the Sun is in a beginning. It's an approaching exact square. So the Sun in Pisces is it's going to be a bigger, broader spotlight, but it can be kind of diffuse energy as to what people are saying and is it the truth. So going into the weekend, I think there's some integration because both of these are mutable energies here. So we're trying to assimilate and absorb and understand what's going on. And so, but because the Sun is clocking ever so closely forward to Neptune, it won't be surprising to us at all, who's been lying and who the cheaters have been and all of that, politically. So I don't see anything surprisingly there at all for us, but on the personal level, this could really help us get in touch with whatever it is that we're wanting to bring in from our higher selves on the creative levels, and then the path forward as to how to talk about it. We're in that tension field of how to talk about it and bring it through, but then we have these other aspects that support the creativity of, okay, maybe I don't really know how to bring this through. I don't know which way to go with this. I know what I want, but I don't know how to get it. And from there, what you do is you have the impetus to connect with other people who've done it, who've gone through it. It's hooking up with a mentor or reaching out to find that person to like either create a website for you or someone to help you, get the project going. And that's especially true because we have Pluto squaring the North Node, and this will be in aspect for some time. We'll look at it again next week too. I have a feeling it'll be there for weeks. So Pluto, the planet of power and transformation, the planet of karma, the planet of intensity. Some people feeling very passionate about some things, but it's because they want to feel safe and secure, and we're in that tension field. So maybe we'll have some new gun control coming in. That certainly needs to happen. And then with the semi-square here to Mars, again, yeah, that action needs to happen. Mars could be, Mars rules anything metal, even electric guitars. But, it certainly would rule guns and military. It rules the military. It could be any kind of military equipment. I'm wondering if something gets done with some, the opposition, the stand-up against Putin, and his cronies in China that are helping him. Like Xi Jinping helping, and little Rocket Man over in North Korea helping out Putin get what he wants, which, I thought that guy was dead, but obviously he's either propped himself up for one. Maybe it's like Weekend at Bernie's. I don't know. It didn't look like a deep fake. I looked at the video and it looks like it's still him. But he's on his last legs. But I don't think that it will be any better even when he's gone, because we've got, Prigozhin in there, that Wagner chief that he's the one that started the whole, Russian troll farm. So those guys aren't giving up. And Sergei Lavrov is he's visiting Africa and other countries, and they're trying to bring in more alliances for Russia. But now that is a perfect example of Pluto in Capricorn there, and this T-square. Notice how Pluto's now in a T-square between the nodes. That's phenomenal. And the South Node is in a T-square between the Moon and Pluto, even though it's not totally exact, but it's still enough. But man, Pluto in the T-square to the nodes is it's like, okay, who's going to win? Well, when it comes to personal power, we always have to think long term. So we have to think beyond this lifetime. So what's your stance? I always ask myself this, like the question for myself, and I definitely am not going to be advising anyone else, but the question I always ask myself is, what supports my evolution into my next lifetime? Even though it might be scary and hard and challenging right now, what is my stance on this issue? And so if you align with the laws of love, it gets to be much more compassionate, and it's easier to understand. And we have all that Neptune and Pisces energy to support us there, right? Just think in terms of the fact that Neptune rules Pisces, and the Sun and Mercury are in Pisces, and pretty soon, next week, Saturn will be as well. So we're going to have that stellium in Pisces. So we're all headed towards more empathy, more spirituality, more devotion, more creativity, more art, music, things like that. And it could also open up, seeing more cults, more addictions, more victimization, more playing the victim card. But those are human experiences that I always have so much compassion for, which is another Pisces keyword, and Neptune keyword is compassion. So I think a lot of us will have more compassion, but for whatever the human experience is, right? But it doesn't mean that it's easy. So pick your path. Choose your path. Pick your battles, you know. Is it worth fighting for? Will it get you where you want to go? And if so, then you just hold your ground, right? It's like the Led Zeppelin song, you know, Stairway to Heaven, that last line, to be a rock and not to roll. So we're not going to want to roll over on it. Don't let anybody roll over you. Yeah, so surrender is another really good keyword for, and I'm focusing in on this because we're all going to be in that stellium of Pisces, and we're also having the stellium of Aries going on. So finishing things up, where I don't know that it's ever complete because there's not really a beginning or an end. It's just a constant movement. But it's all leading to something new with all this Aries energy. So maybe it's new ways of being compassionate and new creative avenues to venture into. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm done. Going to send you lots of hugs as always. And have a really, really great week and weekend. And take care of yourself. Do your best to not overthink. Try to stay out of your head. And, you know, the key is always to be in your heart. Yeah. It helps. Being in your heart really helps. Being in your heart and being very grounded in your body and taking care of yourself, loving yourself through whatever you're going through is always the key. So, okay, well, that's it, you guys. Take good care. Bye.